Welcome back to Tied Down TV, the punk rock opinion show with me, Danny.
And Geoff.
And today we are picking our top 5 70s punk songs. Not necessarily singles,
No.
just songs.
No, could be deep cuts, B-sides, whatever.
Yeah, anything. Now, when we did our 70s album selection...
Our very first
Yeah, the main criticism that we got, and we've had it a few times, and I've been questioned a lot,
Yeah, so.
he didn't pick Nevermind the Bollocks. Now, I feel like it's a good time to address... because the Sex Pistols haven't made any of our lists either this time either. I'm just going to go out on a limb. I'm not a big fan of the Sex Pistols. It's not that I think they're a bad band, because I don't. I personally just think there was better bands in the 70s. That's just the cut and dry of it. That's all it is. I think for 70s punk, I think there was maybe not as impactful. That's, you know what I mean. Yeah. Maybe not. Yeah. But in terms of albums, there's just bands I prefer out there. Do you know what I mean?
And I pretty much agree. I think I probably like them a little bit more than you do.
Yeah.
I like a few of the songs. The album's good, it's well produced. It's very mid-paced, and I 100% agree with what Danny said. Like, I would every time go for the first Clash album over
100%
the Pistols album, or The Damned. And some of the bands we picked here today as well, and that's it. It's not that I'll say the same. It's not that I don't think the Pistols were good. They were good.
Yeah.
And hugely impactful, hugely influential. I just feel that a little bit overrated.
Yeah, and I think not only that as well is sometimes I hate the fact that people of a certain age who I speak to seem to think that punk began and ended with the Sex Pistols. Do you know what I mean? They speak to them and
Sid Vicious.
Yeah, and that's all they seem to like is that and nothing else. And I'll say to them, well, this album was better from... Oh, no, I'm not into that. And I'll go, well, this album from like 78 was better. No, Sex Pistols, you know what I mean? Yeah. There seems to be a bit of that mentality going on with a certain generation as well.
Maybe,
and that's always annoyed me a little bit, if I'm being honest with you. But like I say, it's a landmark album. They were a great band, they were impactful. They needed to come along at the time they came along.
Yeah.
I personally just think...
hugely important.
Yeah, I personally just think between 77 and 80, say, there was better punk out there.
Yeah, for me, more interesting stuff musically, different sounds. Like, I think Pill, I would listen to Pill over the Pistols any day as well. I think they're a great great band, especially early on. Yeah. But and also, I suppose we should touch on, like we've referenced a few times, being big fans of proto punk as well, haven't we? But
we're not putting any proto punk, so I've worn my New York Doll shirt today.
I should have worn MC5.
And I could have easily, if we were going to go, I could have gone like Trash or something like that.
Yeah. Personality Crisis was...
anything like that, but we're not. We're going from what you'd consider, the 77
punk
era.
From 76 to 80 to 79,
Yeah, so I'll go first. I've gone for my first choice. I've gone UK subs Stranglehold. Always been somewhat of a UK subs fan, but I didn't really truly appreciate him until we saw him live, and and it was kind of funny because I didn't expect much, and then I seen him, and I've always been someone who's had the collections, the singles collection, the greatest hits, and all that type of stuff for years that I've always kind of had on. But it wasn't until we saw him live and we seen them big hits played live, like Warhead and stuff like that, and it was Stranglehold and everyone singing along to it, and I thought, this is a great song. Quite problematic, really, if you at first glance at the lyrics, because he's talking about a 13-year-old girl having a hold on him.
Yeah.
But
very
what the song is actually about is when the band first started, I believe one of the band members had a 13-year-old niece who had a very obvious crush on on an unnamed band member, and it made him really, really uncomfortable. And I think during the conversation, he was like, she was a sweet girl kind of thing, but it was like trying to think, and it was like, she's got a fucking stranglehold on me, this kind of thing, and that's where the song came from. But it's a great song. It's got a brilliant, real rock and roll edge to it. That's that chorus, got a stranglehold on me, stranglehold, and everyone just singing along to that, and it's just a great song, and it's one of them songs I always find myself singing in a car all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just one of the catchiest tunes. And they've got a lot of good tunes, do you know what I mean? Like I say, I never really appreciate them fully until I've seen them live. And he may be 80 years old, but his voice is still brilliant.
Yeah, Charlie Harper fucking still bring it. Like,
yeah,
it was brilliant.
And it was hearing all those singles played live, all those hits, that made me really appreciate, God, these are a fucking good band, these are.
Yeah, well, I was at the same show as you, and I had pretty much the same feeling, like,
Yeah, so I've gone UK subs, Stranglehold as my first choice.
Very nice. So, pick number one for me, I've gone for Do They Owe Us a Living by Crass. So, I've talked a lot about Crass on this channel, one of my all-time favourite bands, and I told the story, like, the first Crass album that got recommended to me was actually Penis Envy, which, if you know the band, you know, is sung by all-female. There's, you know, Steve Ignorant is on it. It's a fucking great album. When I got Feeding the 5000, the album that this is off, and first track Asylum played, and then, which is amazing as well, but when this kicks in, and even straight from the first, fuck the politically minded, there's something I want to say. And as soon as he asked, do they owe us a living? Of course they fucking do. I was like, my little 16, 17-year-old brain just went, oh, yes!
It is one of them songs, isn't it, that when you're young and angry, and you hear that, you're like, fucking yes, yes!
They fucking do! Yes, they fucking do! Yeah. Didn't even have a full grasp on actually what he was saying at the time, but yes, they fucking do. I love it. And to be fair, I went back and forth over quite a few of their songs, especially off that album, because I love it, every track on 5000 pretty much. But that, as I say, because of how impactful that literally turned me into a Crass fan.
Yeah.
And I've been a fan ever since. And I've had the pleasure of meeting Steve Ignorant a few times, and one time spent actually a good few hours chatting to him after he'd done a book signing.
He called you a little weird.
Oh, no, he fucking didn't. Just because you get fobbed off by everyone.
Yeah.
But no, he was dead sound, and just, you know, was kind of shooting the shit with him a bit, asked him loads of questions about Crass, and he was more than obliged and answered them all. It's just about music in general, what he listens to, you know. Doesn't actually listen to a lot of punk, never really did listen to loads of punk. He listened to a wide range, you know, big skinhead, wasn't he, before as well. Anyway, I digress a little bit, but it's one of the best fucking punk tunes ever for me, and it changed everything. So that's my first pick.
My second pick is, now everyone knows how I feel about the Ruts, so I'm going to try and get through this quickly. I'm just going to say that I wanted to pick Staring at the Rude Boys, which in my opinion is their best song. However, I think it's 1980, so I had to swerve that a little bit.
I think it was recorded in the 70s, but it was released after.
Well, I couldn't find anything cut and dry, so I've just, I didn't want to, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't want to give anyone out there an excuse to go, Danny, it's 1980. So I've gone Babylon's Burning, for the simple fact I've had this discussion before. I think it's the best opening track on any punk album. That driving guitar,
it's amazing.
And he's building up, and then he hits that chorus with anxiety. Babylon's burning, Babylon's burning. I've always gone on about the Ruts, and I've always gone on about the Crack, that they're the most underrated band of the 70s. I had to pick a song by them, and I've picked Babylon's Burning.
Great fucking song. Well, my second pick, I've gone for I'm on Fire by Chelsea. Now, Chelsea are a band that album with that song on came out in '79. So obviously a little bit after the first initial wave. I think they have members of Generation X, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, I think that album is sorely underrated. I don't think it gets talked about as much as a lot of the other 70s punk albums, and I think it's fucking great.
Yeah.
There's, you know, numerous tracks on there, and I know there's one you love as well, isn't there? But,
we had this discussion. I do think they're quite undersung, and I'm not sure why. There's a song on that album that I was debating whether to put it in my list, a song called 12 Men, which I think is an unbelievably good song. I do think they're a little bit undersung, Chelsea.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. So, I'm on Fire is the opening track to that album, and it is a fucking, I mean, again, you know, talking about Babylon's Burning, this is also a blistering opening track to a punk album in the 70s. It's so fucking catchy. I don't know if they had any kind of chart success, because obviously a lot of stuff, you know, bothered the indie charts and things from that era, but the chorus is so fucking, the hook is in my head constantly. You know, I feel for the passionate kill, I feel for the black generation, I'm on fire, sing it all the time. Fucking amazing. And like I say, and as Danny just said as well, very undersung, underrated band from the 70s, I feel. I actually don't know a lot of the discography, but that album, that debut self-titled one, it's fucking well worth picking up. Check it out.
My next pick, I've gone The Clash, London's Burning. I was a little bit late getting into The Clash because I think they were a band I always avoided, because very much like Pink Floyd. I always thought they were a band your teacher listened to. You know, when you're in school, especially growing up in like the 90s or whatever, and you're in school and you'd speak to your teacher and go, "Hey sir, what music do you like?" And then you'd rate and he'd go, "Well, I was always a fan of the Clash, actually." There was always a science teacher or whatever, like the Pink Floyd and the Clash, and they were all. So I always kind of avoided them because I like associated them with teacher music.
Dad rock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think some of it actually is a bit like that, to be honest. But not that first album, that's for sure. And I think the first time I really was captured by the Clash was I actually saw live footage of was it the Rock Against Racism their clip, and they were playing London's Burning, and I'd not actually heard that song before. And
so
just seeing them playing it live, and they had
fucking pumping legs, strumming as well. Like,
and it's just sort of that London's burning with boredom now. Yeah. London's burning down, na 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 na. And it was kind of snotty. I liked how it sounded more snotty than what I'd heard from them before, because I'd only really heard London Calling and
Should I Stay or Should I Go?
Yeah, and I hate that. I fucking hate that song. That might be a reason why.
You'd hate that song.
Yeah, that might be another reason why I always avoid the Clash. I fucking hated that song, and I still don't like it. But when I heard London's Burning, it's like I went, oh fucking hell,
yeah,
this is fucking really good. This, and it was that song that made me go out and get the first album, and obviously. The first album's unbelievably good, as we all know. But I reckon I was probably like early 20s when I got into the Clash properly. Do you know what I mean? I'd really avoided them in my late teens and that because of that reason. And but yeah, it's such a brilliant song with a brilliant chorus. Yeah. And London's Burning by the Clash.
So I as much as I love the Clash, I actually didn't pick a song because there's a couple of bands I would have picked. I can't pick one song. I couldn't think of one. That's one of the bands. Because as you know, I love the first album, and London's Calling, I think, is a stone cold masterpiece. But anyway, so third pick for me now, I've gone for Nervous Breakdown by Black Flag, which came out January 1979. It's one of the very first.
You actually fucked me with this choice because I don't know why, and I got this wrong. I don't know why, but I automatically thought we were picking British bands at first, and I didn't think to pick. I don't know why, I just didn't associate them with that era, even though it obviously is the 70s.
I get what you're saying.
And then when you came up with it, I was like, oh, that's a fucking brilliant choice, that.
Yeah, because it's fucking. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. It's just a stone cold classic hardcore punk song. It's amazing. It's one of the only songs, there's a handful of them in punk and hardcore that I think I've never ever once thought, I'm not in the mood for that one right now. Like every time it comes on, I'm like, oh, let's go. Yeah. It's so fucking good. I heard Black Flag, I told the story about Damaged, and eventually, within probably a year or two of getting Damaged, I'd gone and got a CD of the first 4 years. Nervous Breakdown it's the best Black Flag song, let's be fair, as much as I love all their periods pretty much, not the current one, but it's just, like I say, every time, it's like a goosebump inducing song for me, that. Love Keith Morris, love that song, I'm crazy and I'm hurt, and on my shoulder. So yeah, I had to pick it, like I say. I'd already asked you, are we, is it just British, American, are we doing American anywhere? And you said anywhere. And, we'll talk about that.
I just didn't associate it.
I see what you're saying.
I don't know why I didn't.
Yeah. But, came out 79.
No, well, yeah, obviously it did, but I don't know why I didn't associate, you know what I mean? But it's not obvious to anyone, is it, when you say 70
because
but it should be.
You associate Black Flag with 80s hardcore,
yeah, but it should be obvious.
Yeah.
Just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because of how influential and important it is. But yeah, Nervous Breakdown by Black Flag.
My next pick is one of my favourite songs in any genre of all time, and that is Don't Come Close by the Ramones. I've said a few times, I think, on this channel that Don't Come Close was the song that turned me on to the Ramones. I've told the story before, I'll say it quickly again. Much like what I said about the Clash, in a way, the Ramones were a band I avoided because I hated Blick Street Bop. Now, that song has grew on me as the years have gone by, because I used to I couldn't stand it. Honestly, I couldn't stand it for years. As soon as I heard that, I was just like, oh, fuck this. It just did my head in, do you know what I mean? And yeah, maybe because it was just so overplayed all the time. And then one day we were at my nan's house for like a Boxing Day thing, and they had MTV. They had one of the Top of the Pops 2 on, and Don't Come Close by the Ramones came on, and then I sat there and watched it, and I found myself thinking, this is catchy, this. And then I dove a bit more into the Ramones stuff, and I've always said it, I realised how influenced they were by Phil Spector, which I've always loved, all that Phil Spector girl group stuff. I've always been a huge fan of that. And people say that this album was like their sellout album because they started going a little bit more poppy. Well, I prefer that sound of the Ramones. Do you know what I mean? I love everything they've done. Like, they literally became one of my favourite bands. Pretty much every album I hear, I go, this album's great, this album's great. Do you know, when people say the first four, I even go past that.
Oh, yeah,
do you know what I mean? I love
all the way through the career, they've got great stuff.
And so in a way, Don't Come Close to me was a bit of a life-changing song because it was the song that really opened me up to the Ramones, and I don't even really know what it's about. I've read the lyrics and I've gone, I can't really quite put my finger on what he's actually singing about here, but it's so catchy and it's got such a simple but gorgeous little chorus that I find myself putting it on that jangly guitar at the bit, and the Ramones, they're just brilliant, aren't they? They're just amazing, and that song Don't Come Close is my favourite by them, and it's one of my favourite songs of all time in any genre.
Nice. Like I said about the Clash, Ramones are another band as I fucking love them as well. I couldn't actually. I struggled. I had about 5, 6, 7 songs of theirs, and I was like, I love all of these equally. Like, I thought, I knew you'd be picking that, even though, you know, it's American and you thought it was British or whatever you said.
Well, yeah, but the Ramones, no, fuck off!
Why did you know?
Fuck off! No, because the Ramones, shut up. Right, the Ramones, though, I do associate with that period.
I know what I mean? Just taking a piss. But anyway, so I put the Ramones to one side because I thought I can't pick a Ramones song. But anyway, pick number 4 for me. I've picked Why Can't I Touch You by Buzzcocks, which is the B-side to Everybody's Happy Nowadays. Now, again, I said this to you, didn't I, before? Like, the Going Steady singles collection is fucking flawless. Like, I could have picked about 10 songs off that. I listened to it a couple of times over the last few days. And this was the song that just kept coming back to. I've always loved this song anyway, but I was torn between this and Promises and another one that I just kept singing and going back thinking, yeah, they're just fucking great songwriters. But I just picked this because it's a little bit different. You know, that groove, it's like, you know, it bounces and it's just so catchy. Like, so fucking good. I could, like I said, talk about the Buzzcocks a lot because I love so much of that, especially those singles and the Spiral Scratch debut. But I think now maybe it's just as I'm a bit older, but I think that's probably my favourite Buzzcocks song now, and it's cemented as one of my favourites of the 70s, and that's why I picked that.
Yeah, well, my last pick was going to be either a song by the Buzzcocks or this one, and I was umming and ahhing just before we came in your room, and I decided which one. I was going to go Harmony in My Head by the Buzzcocks, but then I thought this one maybe just pushed it out just about, and that Stiff Little Fingers alternative Ulster. And the reason I think it pushed it out is because it's so, you know, the subject matter, you know, it was really relevant at the time, touches on like the having no money and the troubles in Belfast, but that really recognisable intro on the guitar.
It's another one I can never get bored of.
You know what I mean?
And just does that free chord.
Yeah, it's just and it's just and it's I mean, it's such a great song, and like I say, it's so relevant that I just thought, no, I'm going to let that pip it out. And that other big Off Inflammable Materials, the other big song they had there, Suspect Device, that's good as well. It's a bit more aggressive, isn't it? Yeah, it's a really aggressive fucking rock track, but I just think Alternative Ulster, you know, you hear that as soon as you hear that guitar, it's so simple, but it catches you straight away. And like I say, it tells a story. It paints us a picture of Belfast at that time. And I think that's quite important. And I think for that reason, it gets in my top 5.
It's an excellent pick. So my last pick, I've gone for California Über Alles by Dead Kennedys, which was another one you said, didn't you? You associated with 1980, but it was got re-recorded for Fresh Fruit for Rotten Vegetables, which came out in 80, their first album, but their first single came out in June 79, the original recording of the song. It's fucking great. Again, when I heard this band, it would be around that time, 16, 17, someone gave me the Gimme Convenience or Gimme Death compilation, it's this version of California Über Alles, which is on that. it's just from the drums intro, and I just when you start like actually understanding what he's singing about, Jerry Brown, who was the governor of California at the time, and it's amazing. And I think it must be the way around that I'm going to tell it now, but basically, so like around this time, but probably just after it, I got into the author George Orwell, who everyone will know wrote 1984. And I remember as soon as I started reading it, it dawned on me that when he says in this song, in 1984, knock knock on your front door, the suede denim secret police, being a reference to like the thought police, things like that in 1984, I just loved that, and then it made me just fall in love with Jello as a lyricist. And I love the fact that this song as well, he was known at the time and still is known for having quite hard left political views. Jerry Brown was a liberal governor. He was, a hippie, so to speak. But Jello Biafra had also been quite vocal about his disdain for hippies, and he believed that what he was actually trying to create was a dystopian society disguised as a utopian society. I believe that's what I've read somewhere anyway. Just mind-blowing lyrics, surf-influenced guitar. Again, like I said about Nervous Breakdown, one of the most influential.
Jello Biafra didn't like hippies.
No.
Fucking hell,
punks hated hippies, didn't
well,
they?
Yeah, but
no, he didn't like ultra, I think that ultra liberal mentality, I just don't think he bought into that. Okay. And as I say, I think he saw what this guy was doing as trying to create some kind of dystopian society rather than the utopia he was professing. And there's a lot more to it as well. Like, I definitely, look into the lyrics. But anyway, that's my last pick.
I'm definitely gonna have an honourable mention. I am gonna go "Harmony in My Head" by Buzzcocks, because it's amazing. I'm
gonna go "Lexicon Devil" by Germs. So yeah, that's our picks. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Jump over the socials, Instagram, Facebook, all that. Give us a like, follow, send us a message, drop us a comment in the video. See you next week.